Hi, everyone. This is Jeff Gallant. I'm the Program Director of Affordable Learning Georgia. We have a new way for grants offices to submit their invoices, their service level agreements, and their extension requests, and it's called the Affordable Learning Georgia Documents Portal. This is a way for us to keep all of our documents in one place, have them automatically formatted for what each office that we're sending it to needs, and it allows us to know exactly what the file is that you're sending us immediately. I'll show you a little bit about how that works on the back end after because it makes a huge difference. So let's say that I wanted to submit an invoice. You select invoice. If you want to do an SLA, you do SLA. You want to do extension request, you do extension request. Be sure to select the document type first. And in here, here's my name. Here is my email. These are just test ones. Of course, put in your own name and the email address you want the correspondence to go to about this. Pick your institution right here. These are abbreviations, and they're abbreviations because they will show up on a file name. So that is why they are the abbreviations. Each one of these has guidelines on what the file needs to be and what it needs to include. Be sure to follow these guidelines. For example, invoices need to be a one-page PDF. Often people will put the entire SLA on the end of it. And when folks want to pay that invoice, they get very confused if we send anything that's more than one page. So that's why we do this kind of thing. It's going to be one invoice per entry, and you'll see why when I show you how this works. And you can consolidate all of your initial invoices. Let's say that your institution has 10 projects that are going on, and you want to send just one invoice because that's a lot easier to do on this form than it is to do 10 individual invoices. You can then use each one with the grant number and the type of payment. So 834 initial, 845 initial, etc. on as a line item on that invoice. Total them all together. The total is the invoice amount. So here, every ALG project has an initial payment and a final payment, initial invoice and a final invoice as a result. So if you're sending an initial invoice, you pick that, final, you pick the other. The invoice number, this is usually going to be your invoice number, which is going to be different from what we look at over here. So this would be something like I'm going to say I'm at CCGA, so 23 dot do, something like that, which doesn't mean much to me, but it means a lot towards you tracking your invoice and the uniqueness of that invoice as well. Now, the grant project numbers, be sure you have the contract that is attached to this invoice um, ready to go, because that contract will tell you in section 3 of the agreement what grant project numbers are on your agreement. So let's say you have an invoice that you need to send out, but you don't know the project number, but you have the project lead or you have the course. The project lead and the course are listed in the SLA right alongside that number. So you'll be able to find the grant project numbers on the SLA. In the official SLA's page 2, although the business office will add some stuff to it, so it won't be exactly page 2. And it's also marked as section 3. Yeah, so if I was just to do M340 through 2 or RG 003, that would be it. If I were doing a consolidated invoice and I had a lot of different ones, I'd put all those numbers separated by a comma, and that would be it. The invoice total amount, so this is just a number slash decimal thing, so 20, so there we go. That's the amount that you'd be invoicing for. And then you upload the file here. One file per form entry, you just upload it from your computer. Don't worry too much about the file size. It's not as restrictive as email. It's not as restrictive as a lot of the other forms that we've been using. Do send me a copy of my responses if you want a copy of exactly what you sent, and put in the email address again. They don't track this one. That's why you have to do it again. Then you hit submit, and it's all done. Um, SLA is a lot like the invoice submission, except that we just need different kinds of information. So when we have a service level agreement with an institution, it's for a round of grants. And that round of grants is on the request for proposals. It's right at the top. It says like ALG grants round something. It's that round. We need to make sure that we have that because that's going to identify what this contract is because it's the identifier for this particular round for the institution. The total amount on the SLA, the total amount that is awarded to the institution goes here. Then you upload the file, and it's the same thing here. Way less details we need on this one because there's a lot of details on the SLA itself. Make sure it's a PDF. Make sure it is unlocked for editing. If you do digital signatures, it can't be locked because then procurement has to add purchase order pages. And make sure that it's not one that has watermarks on it, like in progress or draft or anything like that, as folks will not want to sign anything with watermarks on it. The last one is for an extension request. This is when folks are having trouble finishing their project and they've got a really good reason for it. And they want to extend the life of that project to another semester as the deadline. Um, in here, you have to already have some things together. You have already contacted me if you're doing an extension request, and I'm already giving you instructions on this. But make sure that it's a PDF. It's not uh, locked up. It has watermarks, and make sure that it includes what we call a letter of justification. It's a letter from someone with authority on the project saying this is exactly what happened, and here's why it needs to be extended. Um, Here, you would need the SLA just like you did with the invoices so that you can have things like the project number, the round number, the original end date of that project, which is also on the SLA, right with the number, the original final semester, the new project end date, and the new project final semester. So we do just summer, fall, spring. We don't do winter session. We don't do summer 2, summer 3. It's just summer 2025, fall 2025, spring 2026. And then here, yep, same thing here. You select the date using a calendar, pretty simple to do. Then file upload, you can drag and drop just like the other ones, or you can browse and pick it out. And then you send a copy of your responses and you do the email address right here if you want that copy of your responses. If not, you don't have to do that at all. This is super important. And the reason why might not be obvious, but email has been the only way that we have been able to send and receive documents for a very long time. That means if anything went missing, we'd have to search through a couple of email inboxes just to see if we could find what we were looking for. But now, when you submit a form like this, you can see on my email right here that it says, "Hello, ALG team. A new invoice has arrived in exactly the folder that it's in." So you can just click the link and go to it. It tells me exactly what the file name is, which makes me know immediately it's from KSU. Here's the invoice number, here's the amount, here's the project it's for, here is the type, its initial. And then what I do from here, I actually put on the email just to make sure that everybody knows exactly what we're doing. Then I just hit approved as a reply all to this message. If I look through the files and they're good, if they're declined for processing, I'll tell this team declined and I'll reach out to y'all and let you know why, and we'll fix that and resubmit it, and we'll be all set. Uh, Over on my computer, I will now be able to show you in grants the submitted documents folder. And here is exactly where these wind up when you submit them into Smartsheet. I've done some automation processes on the back end. So the form that you're filling out determines this file name. So you don't have to name your files anything for us anymore. Thanks to that, you can name it whatever you would like. You can name it Captain Jean-Luc Picard.pdf, and it will show up perfectly with the institution, the invoice number, the dollar amount, and exactly the project it pertains to immediately. With the SLA, We do similar things. It immediately tells me what the institution is. It tells me the total SLA amount that is institution signed, and that we can route it, and it's ready to go. This helps us at ALG because we're only two people, and we've had to norm a lot of files before we even get them sent to the next step. And that's taking us a ton of time on our ends just to find out sometimes what this file is, which project it's for, which rounds that project is in, what's the PO number for it. Now, with our tracking, we can have all of that up front. And also, because this is submitted through a smart sheet, we now have a place where we can always see every document that's been submitted to us. We no longer have to search through inboxes and wonder whose inbox it's in. Immediately, we can search for the grant number. We could search for an invoice number if an invoice number is missing. We can search for the total to see exactly when this was submitted. We can get the original copy of it. It all works together. So this has been helping us immensely. It's been piloted by a couple of teams, and now it is going to be the official thing. So if you have any questions about this or any suggestions for ALG, please let me know at jeff.gallant@usg.edu. And thank you so much, as always, for being amazing grants offices working with ALG in making a huge impact across our institutions. Thank you.